What if you're having a horrible day and you don't know what to do about it? You clicked on this video because you know the feeling of having a bad day all too well. You might be in the middle of having a horrible day, one of the worst days ever that you wouldn't wish on anyone. And maybe all your mind is looking for right now is for a solution of how the heck you're gonna get out of this terrible day. Thankfully, this video found you through the algorithm or maybe a search. Fear not, this video is going to help you manage your bad day. And I promise you will get something out of this video because I feel like I've practically lived my life to make this video on how to cope with bad days. I had all kinds of bad days that were my fault, bad days that were someone else's fault, bad days that have led me to making a series of bad choices, bad days where I managed to cope, bad days where I thankfully had a support system, including maybe therapy or even medications, and bad days where I absolutely didn't. Like the handful of worst days in my life have felt so emotionally threatening to me that I've had to think about bad days from all angles. So I promise this is not going to be a run-of-the-mill video giving you the standard advice. This video is going to make you feel more supported, and this video is going to give you some really practical tips and tools that you can use to settle this day down and to bring with you in your skill set for future days to help you get through future bad days as they come. And even if you are about to click off this video, even if you don't watch these tips, your horrible day is still gonna get better as long as you just hang in there. Life is in cycles and waves, so even if you do absolutely nothing, your horrible day will just naturally revolve itself and ease out over time. That being said, I still think you'll take some value out of this video because I think when we act proactively, it helps us build towards the life that we actually want instead of just reacting. When I'm having a horrible day, which literally last week I just had a series of randomly horrible days for no reason, the worst part of it is the fear of, is this bad day going to turn into a bad week or a bad month or a bad season of my life? So there's also the fear of not knowing what impact that one bad day is going to have on your life. Our lives, our calendar year is a series of 365 days. And it really does come down to how many good days you experience and how many bad days you experience. I really want to help you be able to cope with and manage these bad days. Crisis management. Also going to give you some perspective to help you really think about how can I optimize my life so that I have a bigger series of good days. With that, the first stage setting tool is to process it. That means to actually take a step back from your situation and try to logically, objectively process what's going on right now. So whether that's your inner world, your outer world, process what the F is happening so that you're at least laying out some kind of map from which to operate. When we are having a bad day, it's really easy for our mental chatter to start taking the driver's seat. To process it, you need two things. You need to be able to narrate what is objectively happening. What are the events? What are the facts? What are the circumstances? What are the scenarios? Process your day so that you can understand what is this map I'm looking at? What is the climate? What is the geography? What are the tools I need? What kind of clothing do I need to survive in this landscape? But the second part is processing your emotions. Why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? What are the emotions that I'm experiencing? What we're really trying to do when we're processing a bad day is to come to an understanding of why am I feeling this way? If you can explain to yourself why you're feeling a certain way, that already creates some clarity. It helps the better part of you regain the driver's seat and then actually figure out solutions. If we're just in the middle of a bad day and continuing to be in a reactive emotional state without sitting down to process it and really think, why am I feeling this way? What's going on? Then your emotions continue to drive and you just kind of spiral out of control. If you need some help processing it, I noticed that bad days, in my experience, usually come down to a handful of reasons. It's either that something bad happened, there was some trigger. It could be that you are missing something or have lost something. If you're sick, you're missing your health. If you lost something, you lost someone, you're missing something, there's a gap in your life. So that obviously contributes to some emotional turmoil. It could be that you are procrastinating or fearing or avoiding something. And usually what happens when we procrastinate too much is that it starts to create this burden and shame that nags at us until it builds up and kind of explodes in a horrible day, essentially. It could be your emotions, your hormones. It could just be something in the stars. It could be something happening in society, something that's happening in your community. Or to me, the scariest thing is that you're just literally out of nowhere just having an unfortunate day. So when you find that you're having a bad day, I find that those are usually the handful of reasons. You know what? Since this video is going to go over so many tools, I'm going to make a guide for this video. I'm going to put it in the caption. I'm just going to type everything up so you have notes to refer to and you can save it and use it whenever you are having a bad day. Those are typically the reasons that you might be having a bad day, and the methods of processing it can be doing a thinking kind of meditation to yourself. It could be journaling, it could be talking to a therapist, something like that. Those are all ways of processing it, or just like literally like brain dumping or making a mental map. I've been journaling for 18 years now, or no, wait, it's been longer than that. I've maybe been journaling for like 20 years now or something. I personally have specific journal methods that I've tailored and used over the years just based on my own imagination that work really well for me, but you can get creative with it. You can use whatever method works for you to process it. The key thing is just to process it, and that is the very first step. The second step is to set a limit, and this is really helpful if you are an anxiety girly like me. Sometimes I get a little bit of anxiety over unknown or things I feel like I can't control. So when you set a limit, it's kind of like setting an agreement to yourself of, okay, I see I'm having a horrible day. I'm gonna set a limit where I'm gonna let this day be 1 day or maybe 2 days. I used to not do this. Like I think I really only started doing this 3 years ago. I actually forced myself to set a limit on a bad day. And it wasn't in like a harsh self-hating way. It was just in a very firm parenting way of like, okay, Allie, you're having a horrible day. That's okay, but let's limit this day to like 1 day or 2 days. Or if it's something I'm like processing in my life, like grief or something, I'll be like a week, whatever, right? But just like actually setting a boundary with it, because that gives you a feeling of safety too. When we're raising children, we give them control. This is when you eat, this is when you sleep. We try to create these structures because that prevents chaos and that creates a feeling of safety. So same thing with yourself when you're having a horrible day. Now, when I set these boundaries with myself, I know that this 1 day is not just gonna pop off and spiral into like a depressive month. Just that practice of actually setting a time frame helps me so much. And in therapy, they do this too. If you talk to any therapist about any issue you're having in your life, they're gonna tell you, give yourself a set amount of time to ruminate every day. Literally put a timer on and just freak out about that thing for 15 minutes or an hour or whatever you need, and try to contain it in that time. So I do that with myself for a horrible day. I create a time boundary around having a bad day. Okay, now I'm gonna give another piece of more conventional advice, but the way that I practice it is maybe a little more unconventional. I don't know. Feel free to leave a comment below or share your experiences. I want you to do something tactile that is essentially a distraction. For me, the two best examples I can think of that have worked best for me, one is to exercise, and two is to environment shift. Sometimes when you go to a new environment, it kind of snaps you out of the emotional state. Same thing with exercise. When I'm having a really bad day, okay, I really spiral. In those situations, I really have to be extreme with my exercise. So there were months in my life where I kept having all these horrible days, and I would have to walk or hike 8 miles a day. And I know to some people that doesn't sound like a lot, and to some people that might sound like a lot, but because my day was so horrible, I literally had to do extreme amounts of exercise to offset the mental rumination and emotional state. I'd have to run like 5 miles. If I had 5 bad days out of a week, I'd run 5 miles on all 5 of those bad days. I had to literally run 5 miles because the first mile in, I'm still feeling terrible. I'm still like fixated on my bad day. It had to be until I really got into the zone, my body started taking over and I started getting really tired and like into the zone of exercise. That's when I was able to just get some mental relief. But some days where that wasn't possible, it would be like I'd do something, go out, run for 30 minutes, feel a little bit better, come home, do something, feel horrible again, go out, run another 30 minutes. The whole day, it was just little chunks of me going and like running around. I know that might sound a little crazy, but sometimes when the days were really bad, that's what I needed to do. The key thing here that helped me do exercise in a healthy way was to have a very grateful and positive attitude towards exercise, instead of being like, I'm gonna go run all these miles because I hate myself and I'm punishing myself. It was like, no, I'm having a horrible day, but I'm so grateful that exercise is helping me. Exercise is a tool, it's helping me find some relief, and I'm so thankful that I can use this tool right now and that it's helping me. Just be mindful of the self-talk. It's not just the thing itself, it's how we are feeling towards the thing, it's our beliefs around the thing. But yeah, for me personally, exercise has been a lifesaver, and just depending on how severe your day feels, you can adjust the amount of exercise. Maybe even just going for a quick walk will help you feel a lot better. It really just depends, like experiment with it. Again, I wanted to make this video, to help you cope with currently you're a bad day. If you're having a horrible day, obviously I want to help you with that. The other part is really to give you the tools and the coping mechanisms to minimize your overall amount of bad days, so you can just have a better life with less horrible days. And the reason I put something like exercise or distraction on here is that, let's say you have a bad day and then you try this one exercise thing and it works, great, then you can know to try it again in the future. If it doesn't work and it makes you feel worse, well, there's another data point for you to help yourself have less bad days overall. Experiment with it. So my fourth piece of advice, and this one is pretty standard, talk to someone about it. I used to be the kind of person where I had no filter. I started going towards the other extreme where I tried to deal with everything alone. I had very, very strong boundaries about sharing my hard times. I would only talk to my therapist about it. Obviously, it's about finding a balance, right? And depending on the kinds of friends or family or therapist or whatever you have in your life, you know what that would look like to talk to someone about it. When we're having a horrible day, we feel untethered, we feel frantic, we feel desperate and scared. So having the grounding presence of someone who loves you is very soothing, and sometimes that's just the thing you need to turn your horrible day around. Also, for the love of God, please talk to someone supportive. Do not talk to someone who is critical, judgmental. That's obviously just gonna make you feel worse. This is one of the times where you just want to find someone who is very supportive and empathetic and generally has a pretty good EQ. Talk to them about it. Be respectful. Ask if you can seek some help from them, and be in tune to how they are being receptive to that. Obviously, if you have a therapist, that's a great thing. If you have a coach, that's also good. They will mirror to you the kind of love that maybe in the midst of your horrible day you forgot how to give yourself. Then my next piece of advice is to take care of yourself or implement some discipline. If you're having a horrible day because just horrible things are happening and you just need to cope, then take care of yourself. Be loving to yourself, all of that. And I can share some tips soon on how to do that. But if, let's say you're having a horrible day because you've been procrastinating, you've been avoiding your responsibilities, then the kind of care you need to give yourself is care through discipline. And even if in that bad day, because you need to process it, you need to process your emotions, and you just need a bad day. You just need a day where you just eat junk food and cry and whatever, right? That's okay. Let that be the bad day. But realize what you are going to need from a discipline perspective to start turning the next few days around, so that your one bad day doesn't spiral into a bad week or a bad season. And even in the midst of a bad day, sometimes just doing the littlest things can set you up for a better tomorrow, and so that you can wake up to having a better day. If you're really tired, if you're really emotionally drained, you can still maybe clean your room or go buy groceries or something, or just go to sleep early. Go to sleep early so that the next day you have full sleep and wake up feeling better. Ways you can take care of yourself are doing hobbies you love, spending time with people you love, just creating a really comfy environment, just feeling supported. Cleaning up is a great form of self-care. Eating well, or just eating something you like that brings you joy. Those are all great ways you can take care of yourself. Just reminding yourself, I'm having a horrible day, I'm gonna take care of myself, I'm gonna go to sleep, and everything's gonna get better tomorrow. So I've had days where I just take care of myself. I be really nice, gentle, calm with myself. Then I've had horrible days where I'm like, oh my gosh, it's because I keep avoiding or being scared of this one thing, but I feel like I can't do anything about it right now because my day just sucks, and that's that. I'll set myself up to have a better day. So I'll start making lists of like what I wish I could change or what I think would make me feel better. It doesn't mean I'm doing any of those things. I'm just thinking about it. I'm just creating a plan so that when I have more energy, when it's not such a horrible day, I can remember what I thought of when I was having that horrible day and then start implementing some of those things. Then I've also had horrible days, and these have honestly been the most life-changing for me, where I become militant with myself. And it might sound a little unhealthy, but I promise it's not, because I know myself so well and I know what my limits are. So by militant, I mean I'm having a horrible day, but I'm gonna push through it. I'm gonna do A, B, and C, and I'm just gonna see what happens. And usually when I make myself eat the frog, do those crazy hard things, even though emotionally, like every part of me emotionally is fighting it, the crazy thing that happens is my horrible day turns into a brilliant, awesome day. And I'm like, wow, I literally turned my day around. I was having a horrible day and I'm going to sleep feeling like I'm on top of the world and I'm so proud of myself and I'm happy and I feel like I've learned and broke through something and made so much progress. So I've literally had the whole gamut, and that's why I'm making this video. Is really just an encapsulation of all the hard knock learnings and applications that I've done on myself. And I really want to share it because I know how hard it feels when you're in the middle of a horrible day and you feel like you can't talk to anyone about it. You feel like you don't know how to help yourself. You feel like a little bit hopeless on what to do. I've been there myself so many times and it was so difficult. So I want to make this video for someone who might be going through something similar. Hopefully it helps. Oh, and you can also DM me anytime if you just need someone to talk to, share your experiences or any thoughts you might have had from watching something in this video. And with that, I'll go into the last tip, which is to celebrate it. On this channel, I talk about embracing all that we are. On the topic of unconditional acceptance, it's this idea of how do we accept our struggles? How do we realize our struggles are a blessing? And I've made a video on this. How do we find the silver lining in our bad days? So my next tip is celebrate your bad day. Again, I've had a whole range of horrible days, and on some horrible days, I can see the comedy in it. It's really the contrast of life that keeps things spicy, you know? How would you truly know the experience of a wonderful day, a perfect day where everything's just going well and you feel so happy and it's one for the books? How would you know and cherish that experience if you didn't have the opposite end of horrible days? How would you know the full spectrum of human experience if you didn't have to go through horrible days? How would you have hope that your life could get better if you hadn't experienced the low? Trust when you have a horrible day or a horrible period, a flop era, as some might say, you know your life is only gonna get better from here. So if you are really at rock bottom or you're just at a low, right, everything comes back up. So celebrate it because you're kind of getting over your horrible day now. Today is the day that you're living your horrible day. That means it's becoming part of your past and it's opening you up for a better day, a better experience. So that's my last piece of advice that I'm gonna end this video on. If you're having a horrible day, just remember that truly everyone goes through it. You are not alone in your experience. And there are many things you can do to help yourself cope. And you don't have to do anything, you don't. Even if you do nothing, your horrible day will pass. But if it's making you uncomfortable, remember that there are strategies you can do, there are tools you can use to help you feel better too. So at the end of the day, it's really, you are still in control, you still have the agency. I really hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, definitely reach out to me. And if you're having a horrible day, hang in there and I hope it will start to turn around for you.